Yeah, here we go. So this is something I sent to a friend of mine on April 14th, 2023.
Okay.
Me, man, I sure hate writing essays. Me, I wish I could focus on my studies better. Also me, 2,000 word YouTube comment about the morality of SpongeBob characters that I know nobody will read. You have no idea how much I wish I'm joking.
Oh.
I did. So you remember? I don't know if you paid much attention at the time, but like there was one scene of a SpongeBob episode that sent Twitter to war. Apparently, basically the scene is girly teen girl appears at Pearl's slumber party, expecting to just waltz right in, and Pearl is like, "Oh, you must be SpongeBob," and so she, thinking it's SpongeBob, shoos him away. But then it is revealed that is not SpongeBob, and his disguise to get into the slumber party is just wearing a mustache. As such, I watched the entire episode and analyzed scene by scene the entire episode.
I'm a girly teen girl fan.
Yeah, I mean, she is absolutely not to blame here. Yep, nobody liked it, therefore nobody read it.
Wow. I'm having the darndest time finding this comment.
Yeah, how many comments are there? Oh, 2,000 comments. Yeah, you might be searching a bit.
I've been scrolling for like That was hold on.
Oh, did you find
never
it?
mind. No.
Yeah, so as you hunt it down, I just watched this episode that the clip is from Season 6's The Slumber Party. Let me tell you, I have never watched an episode of SpongeBob more critically, but there is a bit of nuance some people are missing. The episode begins with Pearl telling Mr. Krabs not to bother her and her friends after they show up for their party. Mr. Krabs instead continuously teleports out of his bedroom and pesters her with the cheap snack idea of crackers and ketchup as a stand-in for pizza and tap water, and then nails up a list of rules he expects Pearl and company to follow, including, most prominently, no boys allowed. Pearl then locks him out of the house and throws the poor man's pizza at him. So far, the perspectives are as follows. Mr. Krabs has a moderate trust of Pearl and her friends, gave her a cheap snack and a lengthy list of rules of what he considers trustworthy behavior. He has not yet elaborated on why boys should not be allowed. Pearl, understandably, thinks Mr. Krabs does not trust her. She thinks the ultimate trust exercise would be if Mr. Krabs slept somewhere else for the night, against Mr. Krabs' will. That is what she attempts to make happen. The next scene, SpongeBob makes his first appearance of the episode. Mr. Krabs decides to sleep at SpongeBob's house. They begin talking, and SpongeBob suggests that the girls at slumber parties, in general, invite boys over and destroy the house, before going on to say, "Oh, you know how girls are." So Mr. Krabs asks SpongeBob if he knows anything about girls, to which he laughs and, in a comedic 180, says he does not. Gary then hits the TV remote, and the late-night scary movie Slumber Party Zombie Attack begins playing. It features a bunch of teenage girls in a pillow fight. A pillow is thrown, breaking a vase. Mr. Krabs is appalled. Next in the movie, some teenage boys show up and destroy even more things, going as far as to throwing a lit match onto a pile of money. This proves too much for Mr. Krabs to handle, and he destroys SpongeBob's TV with a baseball bat. Then he goes on a rampage, destroying everything else within reach to portray what he believes Pearl's friends are doing at that moment. SpongeBob agrees that it must be difficult to let strangers into your house, only for them to disrespect your belongings. He does not address the fact that, ironically, that exact thing is what just happened to his own house, but he agrees that he doesn't want it to happen inside of Mr. Krabs' house, agreeing to try sneaking into Pearl's party with the perfect disguise. Spoiler alert, it's a fake mustache. That was a lot to unpack, so let's recap. Mr. Krabs was willing to spend the night at SpongeBob's house to leave Pearl on her own. Then he heard from SpongeBob, an unreliable source, that all teenagers, more specifically once invited boys, will do in a house during a slumber party is destroy it. His worst fears are then verified by the TV, when a movie shows both teenage girls and boys destroying a house. His paranoia shoots through the roof, and he loses control of himself, trashing SpongeBob's house. SpongeBob was very excited to see Mr. Krabs, and had no idea that Pearl was hosting a slumber party, until a moment before he could properly prevent the destruction of his possessions. Darn a typo. He did generalize the behaviors of girls before realizing the stereotypes he had just put into words during that comedic 180. But by the end of the scene, he decided he would try infiltrating Pearl's party. Then we have a quick glimpse into Pearl's party. They're all just hanging out and laughing. There's a knock at the door, and Pearl frowns. Girly teen girl arrives at the scene, so I'll recap. So Pearl is apprehensive that Mr. Krabs will try to spy on her, but not letting that stop her from having a good time. Pearl's friends are blissfully unaware of the tensions between Pearl and her father. Now for the scene with girly teen girl from Farawayville. I don't need to describe it because you can watch it at 0 minutes and 13 seconds. Now for the fun recap. Pearl thinks this person, whom she has never seen, or at least paid any attention to before, is SpongeBob. On top of that, the most important rule Mr. Krabs gave her is absolutely no boys allowed. Of course you would expect SpongeBob to show up dressed as a girl. Mr. Krabs has never seen Girly in his life, and will likely never see her again. SpongeBob calls Girly ugly. That's just rude. Girly. Found out about the slumber party through unknown methods, introduces herself, just moved here from Farawayville, does not know who SpongeBob is, screams after being grabbed by the hair, screams after Pearl says to her friends, "Get him, girls!" runs away crying, "I'm so moving way back to Farawayville." That's it. That's all we know about Girly from Farawayville. She uses just, implying that she moved to Bikini Bottom fairly recently. It would make sense that she attends Bikini Bottom High School, and is most likely the same age and or grade as Pearl. Reminder that as of Season 4's Whale of a Birthday, Pearl is 16. I agree that she probably heard about the slumber party through word of mouth, and decided to try to show up to make friends. She pauses and says 3 times. Once before saying her name, once before the sentence in which she says she's from Farawayville, and once directly before saying the name of Farawayville. I am willing to write that off as either a local dialect from Farawayville, or verbal components to her anxiety about meeting new people. It could honestly be either. I am leaning towards the Farawayville dialect. Understandably, she has never heard of SpongeBob, and screams when she is grabbed by the hair and threatened by her classmates. Then she runs off, and she sounds pretty certain that she will be able to move back to Farawayville. But whatever the case, she believes she has the coercive power to return to her previous city. My analysis of Girly leaves her in the green, an innocent victim just trying to make friends, but doing so in an unorthodox manner. Though you may think this is where my analysis ends, I'm afraid there's more to go over. SpongeBob then goes to the front door with his fake mustache and empty pizza box, and he says Mr. Krabs bought and paid for a pizza for the party. Pearl doesn't believe him for 1 second. Notably, she doesn't accuse this mustachioed sponge of being SpongeBob until the fake mustache flies away, chirping like a bird. Okay. Pearl now recognizes SpongeBob. SpongeBob panics, Mr. Krabs drives away, and Pearl's friends catch SpongeBob. We cut to Mr. Krabs snooping through a trunk of SpongeBob's in his house before hearing a knocking at the door. He finds the pizza box with SpongeBob's face within a pizza crust. Mr. Krabs begins eating the SpongeBob pizza and scolds SpongeBob for having arrived late. Like I said, there's a lot to go over. SpongeBob wants Mr. Krabs' house to not be trashed by teens. He is willing to dress up as a pizza delivery man in order to spy for Mr. Krabs. It is not stated, but I feel hard-pressed to believe he has no idea what he is doing is very sketchy. Mr. Krabs still only wants the house to be not trashed. He shows SpongeBob is a little more than a tool to him, but he requires him to do all the dirty work. He has no interest in the safety in between, as demonstrated when he drives away without SpongeBob. Pearl did not immediately suspect the pizza delivery man to be SpongeBob. Only after he lost the mustache was she willing to stuff SpongeBob within the crust. Now, what would bring her to such an extreme? She is paranoid about her father, but she returned the pizza box to sender as a warning to Mr. Krabs to leave her alone and trust her for once. It's a twisted scenario. Ultimately, I believe it stems from Mr. Krabs' distrust in her daughter. Most interestingly, and unfortunately, that was minimized for a short while until he saw the movie on TV. If he had not seen that movie, he would have trusted Pearl just barely enough, and Girly would have still shown up. Since Girly's uninvaded appearance was an isolated incident, that does mean there was nothing on Mr. Krabs' end at that point that could have prevented Pearl's behavior. However, this does exemplify the point that the only reason Pearl acted with such hostility was that she fully expected Girly to be SpongeBob in disguise, sent by her father to spy on her. Because she had locked him out of the house. Because he had given her a very long list of decidedly arbitrary rules to follow. Because he was being overprotective. At first, it was about protecting her, but after watching the boys in the movie Burning Money, it became about protecting his house and his money. Yikes. In the next scene, SpongeBob is dressed as a piano repairman. He announced himself as the door as such. In return, Pearl and her friends drop a piano from the roof onto SpongeBob. A flattened SpongeBob tries to reason with Mr. Krabs, saying Pearl's friends seem trustworthy, but Mr. Krabs tells SpongeBob that he'd be fired if he doesn't go into his house. In return, SpongeBob meekly introduces himself without a disguise at the door, and Pearl tells her friends to not pour boiling oil on him. He begs Pearl to let him in, but Pearl refuses him, calling him just like her dad. SpongeBob suddenly perks up at this. Pearl concludes by describing her father as a no-good, dried-up old fuddy-duddy. SpongeBob, fed up with Mr. Krabs, he trusts Pearl and friends, realizing that they're only acting hostile to keep Mr. Krabs away. He still doesn't respect Mr. Krabs, but is lowered to ground level after hearing Pearl's opinion of him. Mr. Krabs is relentless. He does not care that a piano was just dropped on his employee, he only cares about protecting his possessions at this point. Pearl, anger has intensified. She is willing to drop a piano and almost boiling oil off the roof onto SpongeBob, all in an attempt to make her dad leave her alone. The final report. Yes, this episode is not over, but this covers the scope of this very long comment. Wow. If you want to know what happens for the last 4 minutes, you can watch the episode. So, Girly, innocent victim. She wanted to make friends, chose the wrong time and manner to do so. Pearl, guilty victim. She was uncomfortable with her father's incessant overbearing nature, but she was overly aggressive. SpongeBob, innocent perpetrator. Getting involved was not his fault, per se, but he did get into his roles, which involved attempting to spy on a teenager's slumber party. He tried to drop out after the piano incident, but was threatened into continuing. Now he is Mr. Krabs, the guilty perpetrator. He unwittingly caused Pearl's paranoia through his own paranoia, and it's sad that he almost left Pearl and company alone for the night, but a movie on TV changed his mind. Okay, I think that about covers the relevant details. All the character motivations should have been laid out, but anybody can feel free to disagree if they want to. I would love to hear responses from everybody who read all that. Anyway, I've been writing this for a couple hours at this point. This is the longest YouTube comment I've ever written. Hopefully the format isn't hard to follow, and I'm not gonna spell or grammar check it. I'm just going to bed. Oh, by the way, Gary.
I can't find the comment at all.
Gary, true antagonist. Scroll back up. Who turned the TV on? It was Gary.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was Gary all along.
It was Gary. Gary caused this. Gary turned on the TV. Why, Gary? Oh man, I'm lightheaded. I don't know how long.
I can't find the comment at all. I've been scrolling for so much.
Oh no. Yeah, hey, yo, me and editing, like, cut it down to just the good parts.
No, that's good content.
Okay.
I can't find it at all.
No.
Wait. I can't find it. I couldn't find it. What? It has to be here.
It has to be.
My theory is that someone in the group did invite Girly Teen Girl, but when everyone was upset about her being there, they acted like they didn't.
Oh. That's an interesting theory. Yeah, I guess I hadn't considered the fact that Pearl's friends each have personalities. Oof. Yeah, it is possible that one of them could have invited Girly Teen Girl and then pretended to have not. But, like, on the other hand, all of Pearl's friends have no idea about the beef between Pearl and Mr. Krabs. So, like, they would have no reason to try and hide it, really. Right?
Another comment? This shit is a modern parable. It's like this short little story that is complex enough to analyze and discuss from multiple angles, but the way you interpret it reveals more about you than it does about the story.
Genuinely, yeah, like, when I watched this episode, I was it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. It was, like, I enjoyed the complexities of the characters. Like, as I said, I went into 2,000 words of depth on it. The characters are pretty complex in this episode. Especially Mr. Krabs and Pearl. I mean, it may seem simple, but then when you think about it, whoa.
I'm going to go insane.
Same. Hold on, I'm gonna open up a private window of Firefox, copy the link, and scroll. I'm gonna find it.
Do it. This is a hunt now.
We're on the hunt. Sort by newest first. 10 days ago, 13, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Dude, it feels like I'm about to terracotta Mars right now.
You and I terracotta Mars.
You win the head chopping off machines.
Me when the throws a slipper.
Me when I miss my wife.
Me too.
It has to be here.
It has to be here.
There's like so much like garbage and zero discourse.
Mm-hmm. Effing Twitter, they don't get jokes.
Maybe Girly Teen Girl was invited by one of Pearl's friends. But then why did they jump her?
Yeah. Why did they... Yeah.
I watched this episode last night.
I watched it that same night.
I can't find it.
I can't find it either. Hold on, Control F. If I can't even find it in
Control
Control
F.
F.
That's the last. We're in the trenches now.
It was too much. YouTube couldn't handle it.
That's the reason it got. It's like that awesome.
It was too
Like,
good.
no-
It's not even my
Like,
favorite YouTube comment I've ever posted.
It's not even like that's the reason it doesn't have any likes. It's that good. Like why would it not have any likes?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it really, you know?
It just.
I'm gonna have to, like, split this video into part 1 and part 2. Part 2 is just the SpongeBob comment.
Yeah, the SpongeBob comment.
Or capital THE.
The first half is Kevin gets left alone and totally doesn't do anything. So when that happens, I definitely don't say anything wacky at all.
Gotcha. This is my theory. Girly Teen Girl and SpongeBob are twins who were separated at birth, and I think she might have fallen and bumped her head on the way to the slumber party and had a light concussion. That's why she had to remember her name.
Of course.
Obviously, SpongeBob has a twin. We literally see SpongeBob before he was born in one episode. Come on. Is the Anti-Pearl Mafia trying to say teen girls should just...
Anti-Pearl Mafia?
Yep. Just let random people into their house? Just random strangers? Valid response is to beat her up.
So much
Anti-Pearl
break
Mafia.
down here.
There's so much unspoken lore. I tried to stick to spoken lore. Fish in reality eat each other whole.
Oh.
Thanks, YouTube commenter. Anyway, I'm getting absolutely nowhere with this. I'm far past the early 2 months ago phase.
It's chaos all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then what's the vibe for what the outro will be?
I don't know. What do you want the vibe for the outro to be?
I don't know.
Okay. How about we just say, hey guys, subscribe to the channel and also hit the like button. Not enough people do that.
Okay. And are we gonna coordinate this at all?
Oh, I think we just did the outro, didn't we?
Oh, we did. Wow, this is meta.
And cut.